Okay, so April is over and it's time now to kind of share my reading that I did in April. I kind of want to discuss it with you guys. Well, discuss. I'm just talking to a camera here, but you could discuss it in the comments with me if you want to. But yeah, I want to share everything that I read in April. I read a total of 5 books, which is kind of on the lower end for my reading at least, but I was kind of busy with school and everything, so I read 3 books from physical TBR, and then I read 2 books as ebooks from my Kindle. So, how should we do this? I think we might go in order of kind of ranking them. So, beginning with the lowest rated and then go up to my favorite. So, we got 5 books. I'm going to start with my least favorite. And if you see me referencing this notebook, it's just my notes for my reading this month. So, my least favorite was Tribute to the Warlord by Atlas Jones, I believe is the author. It was just this random book I found on Kindle Unlimited. It's a fantasy book, but the only fantasy thing about it is that it's set in another world that is not our own. It's not really got any magic or fantasy elements other than that. And we follow this young man, I guess. He's like 21, and he is exiled from his country, his family, he because his his father don't like him. His father think he's weak, and he doesn't really conform to society's expectations of him, and he gets exiled and sent as a tribute to the warlord of kind of the mountain clans, who obviously are seen as barbarians as they often are in these fantasy books. And there he obviously learns that everything he was taught about them is wrong, and everything he knew about life and the world was wrong, and he finds his place and comes into his own, the normal things in a book like this. For me, it was both too short and too long at the same time. It's only 240 pages long, and that is a short amount of pages to fit in everything in a fantasy novel and kind of develop everything. But I felt like it was too long because it was focused on scenes, like these mundane scenes that didn't really do anything to the story, and I felt drawn out, and I felt I was reading forever. But then they have kind of the romantic developments because it is a queer love story at the heart of this book. I guess I felt like that developed too quickly, and I felt like there was no chemistry, and like the love came out of nowhere. So it was both too short and too long, in my opinion. But yeah, that was Tribute to the Warlord at number 5. Should I? Kind of contemplating which one I should put at number 4, but I think I'm going to put The Enchanted April at number 4. This might be controversial, but I didn't love it as much as everyone else seems to do, or as I expected myself to, I guess. So, Enchanted April centers around 4 women who don't know each other. They are from different parts of life. They are from different parts of London, different social class, different backgrounds, different home lives, different perspectives, and different problems. They don't know each other, but they decide to rent this castle in the Italian coastline together and just live there for a whole month of April to get away and kind of experience some happiness and kind of figure out their troubles, I guess. It's kind of the goal. And I expected this to be about women, relationship between women, and them kind of reflecting on their lives, figuring out some of their problems, and them kind of becoming friends and making community and the relationships between women. And I also heard that it's got some incredible descriptions of spring in it. That is what I wanted from it. Now, I got the descriptions of spring. They are very, very elaborate. They're very flowery. They're beautiful. And it feels like you can touch the flowers around you when you're reading this book. And that was lovely. But I felt like I can pick up the book. I own the book. I felt like in the first kind of like 30 pages was very good, but then they got to the castle and it started slowing down, and it was so slow and like nothing happened. No plot development happened and no character development happened. I felt like it was a slog to get through, and then suddenly in the last 15 to 20 pages everything happened all at once, all the character developments. Suddenly these women felt like completely different women to me, and I didn't really understand how we got there suddenly in like the flip of a page. So I would enjoy it more if it would have happened gradually throughout the book, and if we would have seen more of the relationship between the four different women, I believe. So that is kind of my short review on The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Armin. At number 3, we got Hunter Villain by Rina Kent. This is a dark romance and it's MM, and I've been reading Rina Kent for a few years now. I kind of use them as kind of palette cleansers. I do enjoy dark romance every once in a while. I know that might be a controversial sentence to utter in this day and age, but yeah, I can enjoy them if they are done right and if I read them at the right time. So this is the second book in a trilogy, which is a spin-off of a series of 6 books, which is basically a spin-off of another series in her world. Like all of the books she writes is set in the same world. This is a dark romance, and we follow Julian and Vaughn, and they're kind of the heirs of two rivaling mafia families in US, Russian mafia families, and they go to this school in England, sort of this. It's on this island off the coast of England where all of the rich kids go, and things happen, and yeah, they fall in love. That is a book, and obviously, the Russian mafia doesn't really tolerate queerness of any sort, and the fact that two rivaling mafia leaders are supposed to be together, that faces a problem. And then they got the inner problems, their fathers who might be against it, their friends, the social expectations of them, and they explored that, and I do like it, but I felt like it was maybe too long and a bit shallow in places. I would like to go deeper into their personalities, but all in all, I enjoyed it. It was not bad, and it was a good palette cleanser for me. Oh, which one should I put at number 4? I think it's gonna be this one. These Violent Delights is basically be sad, be gay, do crime. That could be a tagline for this one. This is about obsessive relationships and the fallout of that, I would say. We follow these two guys that are from different backgrounds, different social classes, they have different home lives, they are different in when they interact with people, but they form a unlikely relationship and then obviously it develops into something deeper. So the main narrator of this story is Paul. He is from a poorer family. His father committed suicide a while back. He is sad. He is also queer, gay, which is not really accepted at the time, and he is also a Jew, which also differentiates him from people. And he's very introverted. He thinks a lot. He's got a lot of meanings, but he's not sure of himself. And then he meets Julian, who is from a rich family. He kind of a broken home, and he's eccentric and makes everyone loves him. And he adapts to people around him, and he kind of he puts on an act, as I guess you can say. But with each other, they can kind of be more themselves, and they kind of see each other a little bit deeper, and they have kind of this eerie obsession with each other. They love each other, but they also bring out the worst in each other, and they hurt each other, and they are malicious to each other, but that is who they are at the core, and they do everything to keep the other one in their life, even though it might not be the best for them. And it explores this relationship, which is so complex, and I enjoyed seeing all of that. And you can't really figure out who is the master manipulator. It's got kind of an unreliable narrator, sort of, as well, and who is kind of in control in this relationship. And shocked me a bit, I would say. The prologue creates this tension that is kind of held throughout the whole book, because we kind of see how it ends in the beginning, and then we see how we got there, and kind of the fallout. And I really liked that, but it did kind of fall off in the second half for me. I felt like it was maybe a bit too long, a little bit too drawn out. If it would have been shorter, a bit more condensed, and a bit more focused on the relationship, I would have given it 5 stars, I believe, but I gave it 4 stars, which is still very, very good, and I would recommend this one. It's also kind of dark academia, because it's got that vibe, it's got that atmosphere, it got that pondering on philosophy and researching things, but it's not rooted in their academic pursuits in that sense. So keep that in mind. But yeah, These Violent Lies by Micah Never Ever. Then we got my favorite book of the month, which is Lost Lambs by Madeline Cash. This has kind of been all over the book internet space recently, and I couldn't resist the hype, so I went out and got it, and I read it, and I absolutely adored it. I'm going to put it here while I talk about it. Will that work? Yeah. Okay. Then I can see my notes a bit better. Lost Lambs is set in this suburban town where nothing happens. It's very religious and calm and everything. But we follow this family, this dysfunctional family who is kind of falling apart after the parents decided to open up their marriage. And we follow mainly these three sisters. We got Harper, the youngest, who is convinced that someone is watching over the town. We got Louise, the middle child, who has this secret correspondence with someone she named her boyfriend and who is an online terrorist. And then we get Abigail, the eldest, who has recently begun dating this older boy nicknamed Warcrime Wes. So that's kind of the premise. And above all of this, we have this millionaire, Paul Alabaster, who is kind of creating chaos in his town. He is kind of in control of everything, and he has got some darker secrets that they kind of start unraveling. But all in all, we also follow this family and how in the beginning of the book they are quite fractured. They aren't really tight knit. They don't understand each other. They aren't really talking as a family should. But then throughout the book, we see how everything that goes on, even though from the outside it looks absolutely crazy, might actually bring them together and be positive for them. This book is absolutely absurd. I love the absurdness of it. It says everything in such a blunt way. It puts the most absurd things in the most like straightforward way, like it's normal. And I like kind of the humor that is kind of the humorous undertone that is kind of laced throughout the whole book, and the blunt way she just tells things as it is. And the way the people speak is, it seems like it's out of this kind of, I don't know, it's like the specific movie type I'm thinking of, but I can't really remember the name. But in one way it doesn't seem realistic, but in some ways it seems like deeply human. I can't really explain it. It kind of got this fractured like connection there, but I like that kind of tilted off axis feeling of this whole book. And some of the themes that I kind of scribbled down as I was reading is that why do we always want more? It criticizes rich people and capitalism in some ways. Where do your money come from, and like who suffers for it? But in all, it brings everyone together, and it shifts their perspective of life. And yeah, it's just about human connections, I would say. So I really enjoy this book, but it is not for everyone. I can see why someone wouldn't like this book. Maybe if I had read more similar books before, I wouldn't enjoy it. I don't know, but yeah, I gave it a 4 star, and it was my top book of the month. So that was everything I read in April. Hopefully this video is not too long, and please let me know what you have read in April. Have you read any of these books? What do you think of them? Do you disagree with me? I know that a lot of people disagree with me on my take on the Enchanted April. You can fight with me in the comments if you want. But that is everything I have to say today, I think. So thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.